All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most blistering attacks on American government ever put to paper. H.L. Mencken's 1926 book, Notes on Democracy. And let me tell you, it's a piece of work that can still get under your skin, even 100 years later. And boom, right out of the gate, you get a pure, uncut shot of Mencken's style. No pulling punches, just pure acid. I mean, that one sentence tells you everything you need to know about his absolute contempt for the whole democratic idea. This isn't just a critique, it's a declaration of war. So you hear a quote like that, and you just have to ask, right? Who thinks like this? Who actually writes this stuff down? To really get a handle on the argument, we first have to understand the man himself, H.L. Mencken, a journalist, a satirist, and, maybe one of America's most brilliant and controversial thinkers. Okay, let's start with the book itself. This thing was published right at the absolute peak of his fame, when he was one of the most influential voices in the country. Notes on Democracy was his big, focused assault on a political system he saw as, well, a complete and total farce. Now, what's so interesting about this book is how it's put together. If you're looking for some dry, step-by-step philosophical argument, you're going to be disappointed. The source material calls it musical, which is a perfect way to put it. It means he keeps coming back to the same themes, the same ideas, kind of circling them over and over, all held together by his one-of-a-kind, aggressive, and, let's be honest, often hilarious voice. So, what is he actually arguing? If we strip away all the fireworks and the crazy insults, what's the fundamental case he's trying to make? Let's break it down into its basic parts. Okay, so it really comes down to these three devastating claims. First, he says the average person, and yeah, he deliberately calls them the inferior man, is just not smart enough or secure enough to make good decisions for everyone. Second, because of that, the whole system rewards not the best people, but the biggest phonies, the guys who are best at flattering the mob. And third, this mob, led by these scoundrels, then uses its power to force its morality on everybody else. Think about prohibition. Mencken absolutely hated it, and for him, it was the perfect example of this. Mencken didn't just cook up these ideas in a vacuum. Nope. He was tapping into a really deep tradition of European anti-democratic thought. He had some serious intellectual heavy hitters in his corner. And this chart here, it just lays it out so clearly. From the German philosopher Nietzsche, he grabs this idea of a superior man versus the mindless herd. From the French thinker Gustave Le Bon, he gets this idea that people in crowds become totally irrational and emotional. And from the Italian sociologist Vilfredo Pareto, he takes this super cynical but powerful idea that elites are always in charge. Democracy just lets us swap one set of rulers for another. So as you read the book, you see Mencken returning again and again to a very specific cast of characters. These are the four figures that, for him, represent everything that is wrong with democracy. It's his personal rogues gallery. First, you've got the mob. That's us, the voters, who he sees as this big, dumb, fearful herd. Then there's the demagogue. That's the politician who knows just how to play on those fears. Third is the moralist, the crusader who wants to make a law against everything they don't like. And finally, you have the pedagogue, the supposed expert who acts like they know everything, but in Mencken's view, isn't that smart at all. For Mencken, this was the whole show. And this brings us to what is maybe the most important point of all. You absolutely cannot read Mencken literally. If you do, you're going to miss everything. His style is the argument. I mean, come on, homo boobians. He's obviously not trying to publish a biology paper here. This is pure weaponized insult. He's creating a caricature so over the top that it forces you to look at the thing he's attacking in a new way. And that is the key takeaway, right there. The crazy, over-the-top language isn't a bug, it is the entire feature. He isn't trying to carefully describe reality, he's performing a demolition. He wants to tear down the sacred cows of democracy with laughter and ridicule and just this overwhelming force of language. Now, because his words are so extreme, it is so easy to get the wrong idea about Mencken. So let's be really clear about what he was and, maybe even more importantly, what he absolutely was not. Yeah, this slide is critical. People have called him a fascist, but the truth is, he hated dictators like Hitler and Mussolini just as much as he hated American politicians. He wasn't some philosopher trying to build a new perfect system, no. He was a critic, an attacker. His main job, as he saw it, was simply to diagnose the sickness in the world around him. And that's exactly how he saw himself, like a doctor looking at a patient, and that patient was democracy. His job was to tell you in brutal, excruciating detail exactly what was wrong. But offering a cure? Nah, that wasn't his business. He would have thought that was beneath him. So we're left with this really fascinating question. You read his words from nearly 100 years ago, and you just can't help but wonder, if H.L. Mencken were somehow here today, looking at our political world, what new symptoms would he add to his diagnosis? That's definitely something to think about.